I feel like it almost started going to Matthew McConaughey. I was like,
I love that. You went really like low.
Would you fuck this podcast? I'd fuck this podcast.
What's that movie? Is it ahead? Don't ask her like, 'cause she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is the podcast where we bring people on the show and we get them really drunk and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I'm Alenka Zach.
And I'm Will. I'm here as well.
He's here.
I am here. I make
yum.
I make drinks.
Well, you could argue he makes drinks, or you could argue that he makes things that you put into a glass and you have to sip on.
I mean, what really is the difference between a well-made drink and a liquid that is there just to put in your mouth?
Yeah, probably not much, really. I mean, well done. I want to get into this drink immediately. So without further ado, let's talk about who we've got on the show today.
Well, today we have a fellow podcaster, friend, Irish person, Orla McNelis, the co-host of the Recommendation Game podcast.
Yes. Check it out.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. This is really, well, all I do is talk about movies, so it's fun to get to do it with new people. No shade on Ricardo, who I do my other podcast with, but after 3 years, I'm kind of sick of him.
Sorry, guy, but she wants some Canadian blood.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Now, explain what your podcast is about, because it sounds very similar to kind of what our podcast is about.
It's not that far away, yeah. So it started off as a drunken idea by Ricardo, and then he promptly forgot about it. And about a year later, he turned to me and he said, "I remembered." It's basically we take turns to pick a movie that the other person hasn't seen, and then we watch it and then we talk about it. So you have one person who's kind of fresh and may or may not like the movie, and then one person who oftentimes has quite a big emotional attachment to the film. So when the other person likes it, it's like warm and charming and nice, and we gush for an hour. And then when the other person hates it, it's just you get to crush their dreams for 60 minutes. So
I like it.
We did Heaven's Gate, which was kind of renowned as a massive flop, which it was in this. It kind of destroyed New Hollywood at the time, and it's kind of glorious how much of a mess it was, and I hated it. So I got just shout about it for an hour. It's fun.
I haven't even heard of that movie, so you could have said it was about anything. I won't.
I do not recommend.
I mean, it's similar in that Alenka hasn't seen the movies that me and the guests talk about, and she also crushes their dreams because she usually doesn't like them.
Not usually. On occasion.
Wait for this.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this one. Again, maybe I've said this before on the show, but truly and really this time, you guys, really, I've been meaning to watch this one. I really want to watch it. I think my mom really likes this, whatever you want to call it. Do we call this a franchise? Do we call it a thing?
It is, yes. It's sort of a franchise, but not in the way like Star Wars or Marvel is.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Robert Ludlum, It's like
I don't
the same. It's like the same kind of characters.
It's more like a universe than a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. So different directors have tackled it, and then there's like there's a TV show which is fabulous. It leans into the camp of the franchise, which I love. But it's all different people, different styles, different actors playing the characters, and in various degrees of menace. It's fun. Very
Menace.
90s.
And what movie are we talking about, Orla?
The Silence of the Lambs, 1991 classic, Oscar winner, didn't it? Did I
Good?
Someone might have. I don't know if the whole movie did. I think so. I think it did.
I think they themed the whole. It was such a smash at the time that they themed the whole Oscars ceremony like around it. So there's a whole thing where who presented that year? What's his name? Harry from When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. So there's a whole. I was thinking about this earlier. I meant to look it up where they wheel him out as if he's like Hannibal Lecter and everything, like on the Oscar stage. It's the most 90s thing you will ever see.
And it did clean up at the Oscars. I'm seeing here everything: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay.
Big deal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's a good one. Now, this was the first one? This was the first one?
No, there was 1985, I'm going to say. There was a, what was it called? Manhunter, which is based on the book before this.
Right.
Which, I don't think Hannibal Lecter's in that one, is it?
Well, that brings us to a good point. Alenka, what do you know about this movie at all?
Okay, calm down, everyone. I know some stuff, I think. I'm pretty sure. So the guy's name's Hannibal Lecter. He's played by that guy. He eats people. He eats people. There's something about a hole in the ground. And something about fava beans and lotion on skin.
Very nice.
And then also, is this the one with the? I've seen the silent. What the fuck is it? Silent Bob and whatever version. There's the guy like the naked dancing. I think that's originally from this movie.
Yeah, you know what else references that too?
Family Guy.
Yes.
I was trying to avoid the Family Guy references, but there's a scene where Meg's in the hole or whatever, and the guy is like, put the lotion on your skin. And then Peter comes by and he's like, Meg, do you know where the remote control is? And he's like, have you checked this spot? And she's like, hey, I like your new boyfriend. You kids have fun. And then he leaves. So
that was a marvelous impression, I have to say.
I just did the Family Guy version.
It was perfect.
So glad. So, I pretty much know how this movie goes.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it.
Also, I don't know if this is this one or it's another. This is the later episodes where there's a detective trying to find somebody doing similar crimes, and they're talking to Hannibal. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in
that one?
Yeah, in the show? Yeah.
Is that a TV show? Because in that one, I've seen a clip of where the guy's in a jail cell and there's two guards or whatever, and he brings him some lunchy poo, and he's like, no cooked meat for me, and he stabs the guy and he eats his face or something and gets away.
Yeah, I think that scene pretty much goes like that, I think, yeah.
Yeah, you got it hands down there.
That's what happens, right? Pretty sure that's verbatim. That's not from this movie, though, right?
No, I think that is this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Okay, so I've seen a clip of this movie.
Guys, we have to stop. She's seen the movie.
I know everything that happens.
Podcast over.
So yeah. So Will, why don't you tell us about your stupid drink?
Oh, well, the drink I made for this particular movie is
I don't know what to do.
Quite a good one. It is
disgusting. Orla, no.
It's some vodka.
I'm kind of into that.
Vermouth.
Clean. What's the choice for vodka?
I have a bottle of Iceberg, but we don't need to say brand names.
No, I meant why did you choose vodka as the base?
Oh, as the base? Because I went out last month and bought a big bottle of gin and a big bottle of vodka and a big bottle of maybe, I think, rum, just as to have bases for all the drinks we're going to make, because in this nightmare of a world we're now in, I'm not going to be going to LCBO like every time we do an episode. I just wanted to be prepped for however many weeks we have.
I thought maybe he sipped on vodka and that was why.
No, I just wanted to pick an alcohol that I had.
That's good. That's fair. Makes sense. Go on.
So
Vodka, vermouth.
And then you fill it up the rest of the way with a little bit of Chianti.
Chianti. I don't know how to say this wine. Chianti.
And then you garnish that. You garnish that with a little bit of fava beans on a little stick if you want, or on top, or however you want to garnish it. But as a bonus, and this is what I did, it's highly not recommended.
Don't do this at home.
You take some blenders, you pour that bean juice in a bowl, you blend that up until it's like a nice frothy whip, and you got yourself some bean whipped cream right there that you can top the drink with.
Disgusting.
It looked like an Irish coffee. Like that's what it looked like.
Honestly,
it looked great.
Presentation wise, 10 out of 10.
Yes, and it's in a very cool glass as well.
Taste wise, leaves something to be desired. Perhaps some liver.
Here we go. That's
I
what
bet he eats liver. Knew it.
Well, Orla knows what liver means, and I want to ask Orla, why do you like this movie so much? Why do you want to talk about this movie?
Okay, confession.
She doesn't like it.
I hate this movie. I loved it until I rewatched it.
Oh wow!
Whenever I did my undergrad, I did a film course, and we had to do a thesis. I wrote 13,000 words on serial killers. And I had to analyze the opening scene from this as part of it. I say had to as if I was forced. It was my choice. I decided. I wanted to. In the world of serial killer adaptations, and this I think is still one of my favorites because it just I think it is the campness of it. Like it's kind of a silly movie, but it holds up in some ways. I think, but it's fabulous, and Anthony Hopkins is
that guy. That's the guy.
Oh yes, who's that guy?
That's the one I was thinking of.
It's Anthony. Oh, he's such a like thespian. He's the big barrel chest on him, and he's what's he in at the minute? What's Westworld?
Is he in Westworld? I don't know. I didn't know
he's in like the first season. I'm going to say of Westworld, possibly more. Where when you need someone to like come in and add like a ton of dramatic weight, and you just like throw Anthony Hopkins in there, and you're like, we just want someone to like chew scenery and look kind of menacing.
Yeah, I enjoy watching him. Mm-hmm.
He's just he's fun. He's
it's very 90s in the camp because like the score is just so overbearing in parts where you really are supposed to feel terrified and you don't because the score is just so nice. And you're just like
it's quite light.
One more orchestra on top. It's funny how because this is what 1991.
Yeah, 91.
And it's so 90s. Like it does, how I said that kind of that feeling sometimes at the start of a decade when the decade before still kind of like leans into it a little bit. That did not happen. There's nothing 80s about this movie. Like I would recommend you go and watch Manhunter just to see what an 80s movie looks like because that is,
it's
bad. But I find the 90s-ness of this just delicious.
Like so to answer the question, you love 90s serial killers. That's why you'll want this movie.
Really, any decades? I liked them before Serial came along and everyone was like, oh, they're so cool. And I was like, there it is.
You don't know.
Words.
Orla, the original serial killer hipster.
Oh god, I did think I was so cool. There's so many pictures of me whenever I got the thing printed going like
done,
you disgusting little nerd.
Oh, that's fine because now you get to talk about it with us today. It's all worth it. Well researched.
Well, it was worth it.
I want tidbits on serial killers during the duration of this recap.
Fun facts.
Oh, fun facts. I got a list here.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it. Orla, how does this movie start?
This movie starts with feminist icon Jodie Foster. She's running through the woods. And you're not quite sure if she's maybe being chased. It has like an ominous feel to it. There's, if I'm not mistaken, fog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there's fog. It's a forest. It's maybe, I'd say, dusk. It's a kind of a creepy time. Woman
You're
running.
also not sure if this movie's from the 90s or the late 70s.
Yeah,
This whole opening sequence seems dated to me.
it's got a sheen of of bad taste. But it's fun. But then you suddenly realize that she's in fact doing some sort of obstacle course, and she's got her sweats, her gray FBI branded sweats. We get our little Quantico, Virginia title card at some point.
Which is like big, thick letters. I noticed right away how, and again, it's a 90s thing because nowadays fonts are so skinny and nice, or like, just not
Subtle.
just filling like more than half the screen, like bold block letters.
Wow.
I forgot about that. I think I wrote that down actually, because I think everywhere they go, you get like a little thing of kind of like update you as to, because I think like whenever they first go to the prison and stuff, and I think I wrote it down and it's massive font.
Yeah.
Massive font.
Massive fonts.
It's important where they are. Real quick, actually, this was a book before the movie, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Not real at all.
Well, the whole cannibal thing, and then there's like he's kind of like a composite of a few very famous killers. So like the main killer isn't the killer who's in this as well. So there's a guy from like the 30s, I'm gonna say, called Ed Gein, who
sounds familiar.
Yeah, he had a nickname as well. I think they branded him with something. But he had some fun activities like digging people up and making things out of their skin. All those
as you
fun
do
extracurriculars.
It was quarantine. You had to find a hobby.
Yeah, I mean, I have to fill my days. I think there's a bit of Ted Bundy in there as well. I'd say, isn't there?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of. He's the
we talking
end
about
of
Hannibal. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose in our main killer James Gum has a bit of. He's a bit of Ted Bundy in them, and how, because I think Ted Bundy had the. Are you aware of Ted Bundy?
Oh, I watched the docu-movie, and then
fun.
also
I'm
also
aware,
the Zephron rendition.
Oh, very good. I've actually seen
watched
that one. I love
it.
It. Was weird.
It was okay. He looked a lot like him, which was weird.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ted
is-
Bundy had the charming element. He
It
had
was
the
spoopy.
yeah.
But there was a bit of that in Bundy where he would, to convince, like, to get people, like women into his cars, he would pretend to be in trouble, or he'd wear a cast, which shows up at a certain point in this film.
Bitch.
Or he'd dress up as a police officer. Yeah,
It's illegal.
and because he was young and handsome and white, people would trust him. So,
Sickening.
yeah,
Okay.
a real creep he was.
What
Or
a
Ted.
wackadoodle.
So
Okay.
yeah, Jodie Foster's like running through the forest. We know. We then find out it's like an obstacle course, and this guy runs out to her and says that the chief or the head agent, the guy wants to see her.
Is he the FBI director? What's
the
Crawford's
director.
title?
Where he's the head of behavioral sciences.
That's it. Yeah, he's a big deal.
Yeah.
Crawford is
Big boy.
he's a big character in the books as well. He's kind of like I think he's the guy that put Hannibal away. So Starling's being called to his office, and this is a big deal for her because she's like kind of cadet status level in the FBI. So she's not yet. She's not a real
She's still a
agent
trainee.
yet. Yeah, she's doing her, training.
Yeah. Her name's Agent Starling, right? We said that? I don't know.
Clarice Starling.
Clarice. Yeah. Oh, I know that name. I've heard the name. People say the name.
I'd be very surprised if you didn't.
It's a great name. It's funny. I noticed that last time we were watching it that some people call her Starling and some people say Sterling.
No.
Like,
no.
Not right.
It's like,
Sterling
pick one,
doesn't
guys.
seem right.
No. I was like,
One's an E,
Mad Men.
one's an A.
No, yeah,
she gets called to the office.
Yeah, so she gets on this elevator with all these men, and that's the first shot that is kind of making this like she is a woman in a man's world type shot. Yeah.
Shoulder pads?
No, actually. I think at this point she's still in her like, you know, her sweatpants and her sweatshirt. So she comes straight from the training course, so she's like kind of gross. But it's one of many very famous shots where it's all about like her not just in a room full of men, but them being much taller than her and her seeming very small in comparison to them. There are so many shots in this movie of men checking her out. Like, I really noticed a thought we were watching. I was like, this movie is even leery-er than I remember. Like, where there's one scene where her and her friend are they're like, you know, they're jogging, but they're also studying. So her friend's like quizzing her, like, you know, reading out like codes and what does this mean? Loads of great montages of her training in this. But they're running along like a beach or something, and a group of male cadets like they full like rubberneck check them out. It's like, oh Lord, we get it, guys.
We know
sexism is
Jodie
real.
Foster.
She's a hottie. So it's a long enough opening sequence, so you're getting the whole kind of intro to what like the FBI, what's it like for her in this environment as she's walking through the corridors, and then she's into Crawford's office. And I think, is she waiting for him before he comes in? But either way, we get some great shots of basically the entire case is this movie on the wall. Yeah. So it's Buffalo Bill, and he is our fledgling killer. Maybe not.
And you
so
see
fledgling.
a lot of gory shit on the wall. Very gory.
It's all there. All the gore.
What kind of gore?
Just people.
What stuck out the most for you?
Well,
I don't know. It's kind of flashes, so it's not really different than what I see every night before I go to bed in my brain. So
makes sense.
You know,
nothing new for Will. Okay, sweet. Just a glimpse into the brain of William. Very good.
He always seemed like such a nice guy.
Makes sense. Ted. So it's a hot case. It's a happening case.
It's a big deal. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's all over the news, the tabloids. They've hopped on it.
And it's in Buffalo? Who's Buffalo Bill? Is that the team mascot?
That's what they named. Yeah. the Buffalo Skinners. That's what the team is. No.
Gross.
The Buffalo Bill is the name that the media has basically given this serial killer.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's not a great name for a serial killer
It's not really.
Yeah, he was William Frederick Buffalo Bill Cody.
Damn it, you already got
what
it.
A name.
He was an American soldier.
Bison hunter and showman.
And a showman.
No.
Oh, wow, whoa. He lived several years in his father's hometown in Toronto Township, Ontario.
Whoa.
Shout out.
Shout out to us. So we made it big, is what you're saying in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are they bringing this cadet youngin into this big old office?
Well, Jack, you might think this is about Buffalo
I know what's
Bill,
gonna happen.
But it's not. Jack is actually asking Clarice Starling, this trainee, this new recruit, basically, to go and interview Hannibal the Cannibal.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get this straight then. This guy's already in jail?
Yes. He's been captured. How long does he say he's been in prison? 6 years?
10 plus years. It's almost 10 years, I think. Isn't it?
So I think Crawford was the guy that they were kind of yin and yang as like detective and killer. And there's certainly like in the TV show where it's Crawford and I'm thinking of Will Graham. Is it Will Graham?
Yeah.
It's
Will Graham in the Hannibal TV show.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe that Crawford was Will Graham's boss then or something. But either way, Hannibal knows who Crawford is and is not a fan of him. So his plan Crawford's dastardly plan is to send in this very, very green cadet to try and get him to, well, he tells Clarice that she has to go into prison to interview him to do a questionnaire. So it's kind of a bit like Mindhunter, where we'll glean some information from this seasoned killer on how he thinks and, you know, why he killed.
And kind of like almost like a training exercise for her, something for her to learn from. But his real intentions, which are pretty like obvious to her from the get-go, is that he wants Hannibal to help work on this Buffalo Bill case to help provide insight so they can catch him.
Yeah.
Right. And they think he's going to help because it's similar murders?
I think maybe he thinks that she'll be a kind of bait for him, so that he'll be kind of enticed.
So he just thinks, but why this guy? Like, he just thinks like, hey, you're a serial killer. Maybe you know this guy. Were you friends? Did you guys get beers at the bar?
Okay, that's like, you're actually 100% correct. It's like it very much just like, yeah, and then it turns, you know, we will find out what happens with that line of thinking.
Do we,
you don't know.
Do we want a bit of background on Hannibal? Do you want to just to fill in more of why you would want to talk to him? Because he's a psychologist as well, so he's like hyper intelligent, also rather accomplished artist, which is another
visual artist.
He's a painter.
Yeah, well, what does he do when he's got his walls covered in all like beautiful places in Europe that he's been to? So he sits there and he files down his pencils and he like draws all these like beautiful like Notre Dame and stuff.
Doesn't seem like something they should give a serial killer, but who am I to judge how they run a jail?
With him, so he's fine.
Oh, yeah, he's in so he's being held in like a psychiatric prison.
Okay.
And so she goes to that. That's like literally the next scene right after is she goes and she gets a little bit of a background on him through the guy who runs the psychiatric unit. The real dick face. I love him. What's his name again?
He's this smarmy creep, and like that entire scene when she first meets him, and he's like, "Oh, so you want to talk to Hannibal?" And it's all done through close-ups of this guy kind of sitting there, kind of going, "It's in Baltimore," and he's like, "Oh, are you staying over for tonight? Because Baltimore can be quite the town when you have the correct guide." And he's just like, she's like, "Get away from me."
Which is a theme throughout the movie, is that she's always being kind of hit on,
underestimated
by people that she expects to be professional with her, but she's being hit on because she's a woman.
Varying degrees of like creepiness.
Do you think they did that because of the nature of the serial killer? Like, it's supposed to be a guy that you're supposed to trust, and it's just showing, like, is it really different from any other dude or any other person?
Any dude could be a serial killer.
Well, let's not say any dude, but let's say like anybody in that professional,
it's dudes usually, though.
Usually dudes.
I mean, I think that's not fair, but
it's not fair to the dudes.
I know we don't want to alienate our listener base, you know.
Not all dudes.
Movie podcasts are the dudes realm.
That's a theme with serial killers, right? Is that they trust you, but or they make you believe that you can trust them, but they have ulterior motives.
I think, suppose it depends on the MO of the killer. That's some, shop talk.
The mo, if you will.
For those of us who, partake in the serial killing study.
I think it just depends. Like some of them, like the charming of how to like capture people is part of it, and then other people you're just being bundled into the back of a van. Like there's no, I think it depends on
right.
Like for some, maybe it's like the thrill of the chase of like having to like woo people and whatever. But I can't remember what Hannibal's method of capture was. If he had a way of kind of charming them.
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like he just is very good at getting away with just attacking people in the open.
He does do a lot of that.
From that scene that I saw, he just chomped right down.
The goriest scene, I think, in the whole movie. It's so intense.
Oh really? Yeah.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure. I
yeah.
don't know why I saw that one. Film school, I think. They were like, this is going to be a little uncomfortable for you, but check it out.
Where did I go? Oh, there.
I was not happy.
I can't believe it's such a like kind of a spoiler scene though for them to show you. It's like
It is.
Well, the whole name of the game is spoil the movie for Alenka, so I mean, go
even
on.
in college. Well, yeah. So
Well, yeah. So Jodie gets to there. She gets hit on by the asylum owner, and he brings her down to where Hannibal's being kept. And it is like she gets down to this elevator, and it's just kind of like dirty, dank brick basement with like glass, like cells, and you're like, did this really happen? Like, do asylums ever look like this? Like some sort of Batman's rogues gallery or something?
Maybe in like the 1800s or something.
Yeah.
Well, you got to keep them sane, and everybody knows the only way to keep someone sane is keep them in the darkest, dankest
with
place.
no privacy.
They'll
And,
get
like,
there.
weird stone basement walls. It's such a weird. Yeah, so she's been brought down by Chilton, where we meet this the one lovely guy on the entire asylum is the security guard called Barney, who he's like, I put a seat out for you, like in front of Hannibal's cell, and it's the one at the end. You be careful, but I'm going to be watching on the screen. Don't worry. So he is
really the only like compassionate person.
He
other
dies,
than maybe
doesn't he?
Clarice.
He must die.
They don't actually kill him.
Clarice.
Damn.
Knew it.
Per Barney. So he leads her into the there's like what 4 cells I'm going to say. So he has to she has to walk past all these other scary inmates who are kind of varying degrees of creepy or insane and kind of, well, I would call movie crazy. So lots of screaming and
yeah. But the one guy says the great line as she walks by, and he just goes,
Migs.
Do we bleep this? We don't need to bleep it. Migs, yeah, that's
awful.
He's just like, I can smell your cunt.
But is he like, I was like hands on the bars
sickening.
as well. He's like at her as she's walking past, and he's like next door to Hannibal. He's like Hannibal's neighbor. It is.
That's disgusting.
And then the greatest,
He couldn't.
yeah.
He
But the
couldn't.
greatest shot in the movie, the one that like gives you chills, is the camera is like slides across and you just reveal Hannibal in his cell just standing there, very very like ominously looking at her with a kind of half smile, just creepy look on his face, and it's one of like the best I don't know moments in movie history. I think
it
just
is
that
chilling,
first shot.
and he's poised. He's there standing like full posture, just like waiting for her, and he just says, "Good morning."
Gross.
And she comes like, I can't remember what she says first, but she walks towards him and she's like, I'm like Agent Starling, blah, 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 kind of keeping it casual, trying to sort of like warm up a little bit. And she sits down, I think. Or no, he says sit down because he's very, very polite. That's the thing about Hannibal, is that he's a sort of like gentleman. So he's like, sit, please.
He's a real English gentleman, They
didn't really explain his accent or anything. Now that I think about it.
No.
Yes. Well, yes. And thus begins a rather intense battle of wills between the very green Starling and the very sharp and conniving Hannibal.
I thought you meant like I think you mean like thus begins a beautiful
so
friendship.
Really? What happened?
Well, she's attempted to kind of elicit this information and do her job and impress Crawford and everything. But of course, Hannibal sees through it right away and starts asking questions about Buffalo Bill. Because of course, that must be why Clarice is here. So I can't. What does she say that shuts him down?
Why didn't I write this down?
because she's kind of making a little bit of progress with him. She sort of charmed him a little bit, and he calls it right away that she's not a full agent because she, you know, can I see some credentials, please? So then we have the rather famous closer as she's holding up her she's been told obviously don't go approach the glass, but she's there with her badge, and he's like closer. So she's just like, oh,
Creepy.
And he sees that the expiry date on her badge is coming up soon. Like she only has it for a week. It's like it's
like a temp badge because she can't
like
have
a
full badges as a trainee
badge,
sort of
I
thing.
guess,
Yeah.
so she can,
Yeah. It's like she can only
It's
get
for one
temporary
interview.
like authority as a
Right.
Yeah.
as a
I don't know why I said
cadet.
cadet. I like saying cadet. It's a fun word.
I like saying
Hey.
Cadet Clarice. That's the spin-off
Oh, God.
Hillary Duff show. Yeah.
I love Hillary Duff.
Stop. It is. I like that movie. No, I didn't. That's fine.
Well, he does ask her. He's like, he asked her
yes.
what Miggs said to her, and then she repeats it. She said he said, "I can smell your cunt." And then Hannibal, I guess, because he's a cannibal, has a heightened sense of smell, so he just like smells the air really
There's, like,
deeply.
Yeah. They
And,
never
like,
explain it.
repeats
Wait.
exactly what she's wearing and like the hand sanitizer she has, or just all of this
He
kind of
said
stuff.
that he could smell it
What
too.
does he say? He says, I myself cannot.
Oh, she said that.
Yeah.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
She like
okay, got you.
relays the
Creepy.
the creepy sentence. But he there's a great shot of him where, because there's like holes in the glass where so he can like hear. But he just sort of tilts his head up and is like sniffing the air, and he's like, "You wear Evian skin cream." And then he says the perfume, and sometimes you wear whatever, but not today. And he just turns and looks straight into so good.
Creepy.
Yeah. Suddenly, I guess cannibals have
they
the
never-
sense of smell of a dog or something.
They never
It's
explain that.
Well, he does.
Because there's a point
Yeah.
where, like later on, where her leg is bleeding, and he's like, "Your leg has stopped bleeding," and she's like, "How did you know?" I was like,
I smell that
You can
blood.
smell it.
He's like a
likes
fucking shark.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave him alone. He's just got a heightened
some
sense of smell.
vampire.
Well, they go
Yeah, they
back
have
and
their-
forth, and he's kind of charmed by her. She seems different than everyone else, and then she starts pulling out these questionnaires and going back to business, and he ggets very disinterested. And this is where like the famous line and what our drink is based off of comes out.
Yeah.
And he says, was it a census taker once tried to take my information? I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice
Yes. And
chianti.
he does his-
That's what he says. And then he goes,
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
exactly. I realize it's like this scary line, but then when I watched it the other night, I was like, wait, why is this scary? It's
He
kind of
ruined
silly.
it at the
It's
end
kind of
with
silly.
the weird noise.
Yeah,
He's doing well.
weird. Maybe that's the noise he makes when he's like slurping up some liver.
Some
That's his
human
liver
We
slurp.
all have one.
Noise. A liver, you mean, right?
That's actually the noise I make when I eat the pancreas.
We can't
but,
all be
you
like
know.
Hannibal.
Pancreas, pancreas. Yeah. Okay.
Stop. So her response to this slurping noise, or whatever you want to call it, puffing noise.
So that's kind of that's the conversation goes very much downhill then, because she's kind of lost him, and he's just like, no, I'm not helping you. And he says, he throws some shade. He says some pretty mean things about her. Talks about her good bag and her cheap shoes. And he mocks her accent and how she's not more than one generation away from pure white trash. And how she wanted to dream to like go all the way to the FBI. And per Clarice, who's probably like 19. Well, no, I don't know, maybe mid-20s? What age would you be?
I feel like, she probably is like 21 or
and
22, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's
young
still
buck.
fairly
Yeah.
young for a
Doe.
Yeah. I
full-on
wonder what
FBI
age
agent.
Jodie Foster was when they made this, actually. She,
Well, I don't know.
yes.
She looks hella young in
Yes.
this movie. That's the first thing I noticed. Was like, oh my! And then I realized I haven't seen Jodie Foster in anything
Oh,
in years.
Jodie,
So
This one took a
she
toll
quit
on her.
acting, didn't she? Because she's
oh, did she?
she's
'Cause this movie
in
fucked her
Taxi
up.
Driver, and then the guy who tried
Yeah,
to
yeah.
assassinate Ronald Reagan in the 80s, Hinckley, John W. Hinckley,
Yeah.
he was obsessed with her. And because she's in Taxi
Mhm.
Driver and she plays like a young prostitute, and that was kind of her big breakout role. And then she was in other movies in the 80s, and he was stalking her and then said that he tried to kill Reagan for her. So I think she quit acting for a couple of years to
Oh,
obviously
Lord.
after that traumatic event. So
Fair.
poor
Mm.
Jodie. Poor Jodie. Don't know what she's doing now.
Oh yeah. Well,
It does.
yeah. So it goes downhill, and then the craziest like minute of film happens. She's like, all the inmates start yelling, and she's like leaving, and fucking Miggs is like in his bed,
Oh,
like
he's doing something.
he's kind of like doing something. He's masturbating.
Obviously. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then he like all the inmates are like scream yelling, and he like flings his ejaculate out the cell, and it hits her right in the
And
fucking
it's so
face.
like clear what it is
really?
as well. They don't disguise. It's
Yeah,
horrifying.
no.
Ew.
And then
that's fucked.
And then Hannibal like
Yeah.
immediately like
Yeah.
jumps up in his cage and is like yelling at everyone, but yelling at her, but like in a like, I'm super sorry that happened to you. I would not have that happen to you. And then he tells her to run back and come talk to him, and basically
Yeah.
offers his services on the Buffalo Bill
Yeah.
case to her after she
Okay.
got cum on her
Poor
face.
Jodie.
All right.
It's
That's fucking filthy, man.
But it's just it's such a
Yeah.
weird like 20 seconds that it just like all this stuff happens, and you're like,
It's a
whoa,
short
it's kind of goes
scene.
crazy.
And then this it just evolves, and then he does actually. He asked her why they call him Buffalo Bill before all that happens, and she says it was, I think, from the first body that they found, whatever police department that was. What does he say? It's something to do with because the MO of Buffalo Bill is that he's killing women and skinning them. So it's like something to do with like buffaloes
Mhm.
and skinning the humps of the buffalo. And because all the women he's capturing are like larger, it's like a really bad joke. And then it's stuck, and then they
Yeah, they're
press
larger
ran with
women.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm. So it's a very
Nice.
unfortunate name.
Nice.
So that's basically that scene. She leaves the asylum
Poor
and she
Jodie.
starts kind of crying in tears, and we kind of have the first little flashback. So throughout the movie, there's a lot of flashbacks to her like childhood, and they're very seamless. They
Okay.
kind of make it go like,
Mm.
ooh, oh, well, this is the next
Mm.
scene. No, it's just a flashback from her memory. And we see that
Okay.
her father was a
And
police
cannibal.
officer.
Cannibal. Okay. Gotcha.
There's one, I think you hear, they are well done because they don't
Okay,
have that thing
good.
of where that fun trope on movies of making memories have like sepia tones and seem very like different because it's in the past. They are seamless, but you get to hear a young Clarice shouting,
Mhm.
"Daddy, Daddy," as her dad's coming home. Where is she from?
Daddy.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that
It's like
sounds right.
Missouri, right? I think it's Missouri is where she's
Yeah.
from, and she
It's
has a
great.
very drawl Missouri.
I obviously
drawl.
can't do that
Yeah.
accent. I apologize to the people of Missouri. Yes, little. Yes,
Missouri.
it's a short.
Okay.
That's a very short flashback. It's like maybe like 15 seconds or something, and then we're back into.
Mhm.
So she's crying. She gets into her car. So then, if I'm not mistaken, we cut to montage of Chris.
Yeah, so we forgot at the end of that last scene, he gives her this piece of information.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a riddle.
Nice.
It's a riddle she kind of has to solve.
Like
And
riddles.
Yeah, that involves, is it his first victim? Or what he thought?
Hannibal's
was his
first victim?
Yeah, Hannibal's
It's
first
Buffalo
victim or
Bill's
something.
first victim.
Okay.
Or no, it's...
Buffalo Bill's first victim.
It's Buffalo Bill's first
So
victim, which Hannibal knows of apparently.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he seems to. It's
Yes.
kind of hinted at that he has some connection with Buffalo Bill. We don't know what it is. So he gives her the name Miss Moffat. I think,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, like old patient.
Miss Moffat.
He says.
That's what he calls her.
And there's like a line about yourself.
Yeah.
What is it he says? I can't remember, but either way, she's given very little information and is somehow able to make a very quantum leap from it's a bit kind of because she takes the line yourself and runs with it. She's like, he's from Baltimore, and I find that there's a storage facility called Yourself, so that must be it.
And there's a storage locker registered to a Moffat, and so she travels out there and checks on it. And this is why her leg is bleeding. She like gets it open.
He looks like
with
a
like
wizard.
the storage owner who has his own driver. I don't know. He's kind of a weird character too. Yeah, he does.
Nice.
This store, like the guy who owns the whole storage facility, looks like a huge big shot. Even though I don't know if anyone who owns like a mid-range storage facility in Baltimore needs his own driver, but you know,
this guy does.
maybe it's a rock
Baltimore
business.
is famous for its storage lockers.
It's a facade. Cash
So she
only.
she gets it open, but like the door is jammed, so she has to like crawl underneath, and that's where she cuts her leg. Which it's not a huge deal except for that line that comes the next scene. But and she's exploring the storage unit, and there's like this old car that she gets into, and then there's like a headless body sitting in the car, dressed in. It's like, well, it looks like it kind of just looks like like a mannequin with women's clothes on. Because the movie, like the scene doesn't really make it supposed to be like a headless body.
Right.
But she kind of brings her flashlight around, and then we see like basically a pickled head, like a head in a big jar of water. Or I'm saying pickle juice. I don't know how to preserve a head in a jar.
I'm sure that's how it goes.
Probably.
Are there any taxidermists out there?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I just assumed that the weird body was him. Yeah.
It's the same pH as the human skin. It's probably it's way more acidic, I'd imagine. Only assume.
So yeah, she finds the head, and she goes back to Hannibal.
Okay.
Yes, in the middle of the night, it seems. It's quite late.
It is, yeah.
So like Barney, or lovely security guard, lets her in, and it's been raining. She's like rushing in, and the cells are all dark. You can't see Hannibal. There's no chair. She's just sitting on the ground, right up close to the glass now because she's got a relationship with him, and you can't see him in the cell. And there's a kind of a drawer thing at the side of his cell where she used it to put in the questionnaire thing and everything. So she's talking about how she found the body and blah, blah, blah. What does this mean? And all of a sudden the thing opens and she looks and there's a towel perfectly folded because her hair is wet.
Yeah.
So he's like, there you go.
What?
He's a very courteous cannibal.
Where does he get these items, though? Where does he get these things?
He's got a full-on
got a cell
suite in there, you know?
does.
Does
set
he
up.
Yeah.
Actually, in this dank fucking asylum basement?
Well, he literally can't leave, so he's got everything he needs.
He's kind of pimped
And then we also see this is a scene where there's also a TV set up just outside his cell because they get TV time. No, it's a punishment.
Yeah.
TV
Chilton
times a punishment?
Well, no, they're playing what is it? Is it Italian soap operas or something? I forget what they're playing.
He says gospel program, I think.
Oh yeah, gospel singing.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like mass or I don't know. You don't see it for but he says that once Clarice leaves, Chilton will turn up the TV again, he'll have it there for like hours to torture him. So
yeah. But she gives him.
Because I was wondering, how would he know anything about the frickin' Buffalo Bill case? Like he's been locked up for however many years. How could he possibly know anything about the case?
Because he has his ways. He is a criminal genius. We don't have to explain how they know.
Okay.
Just he knows. They know.
Hannibal knows things.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, if he can smell that good, he could probably hear that well. So he can hear like the radio from a block away outside his cell.
For Barney, he's just been watching like CNN.
Yeah.
At this point she gives him the Buffalo Bill case files, right? Or no?
What?
No, not yet.
I don't think so. So this is a quid pro quo scene, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not, because I wrote down what scene that was. So it's not the quid pro quo scene, but this is where they do have this. They start talking about they start talking about transsexuals.
Yeah.
Okay.
As that Buffalo Bill may be a transsexual. That's kind of the first time it's mentioned.
Why do they suggest that? Oh, because of the like dress up?
They really
Yeah. So the guy that's dead in the car was Buffalo. He was Lecter's patient. But he was Buffalo Bill's first victim. I think Buffalo Bill dressed him up because even like the head in the jar had like fake eyelashes and makeup and stuff on it. So so she says like, is Buffalo Bill transsexual? And which is kind of that kind of brings us into there are a lot of criticisms against this movie that it was a bad representation, like LGBT wise, because they're portraying a possibly transsexual person as being incredibly violent. But it's kind of because she says, she does say at one point that transsexuals have there's no correlation between that. Like she says, they're generally passive, I think she says, in a kind of a weird clinical term.
Yeah, I feel like you can't really judge someone's passiveness or aggressiveness based on their sexuality.
This movie definitely did not do any pluses for the transgender community.
Absolutely not. Considering how few representations that they would have had by 1991.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's definitely like part of the demonization that like the scary man in the women's washroom type view. Okay. This movie definitely added to that, even though I will agree that she does say that line where it's like at least the characters in the movie are never saying that, but the movie is sort of saying that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of the film kind of wants it to have its cake and eat it too a bit.
Yeah, basically.
Is that a 90s thing? I don't know.
Basically, they composite this kind of Buffalo Bill, maybe a transsexual or a transgender person, or someone who wants to be a trans. No, that's what he does. Yeah.
Yes.
So she says that they're generally passive, like they're not violent people.
So uncharacteristic.
And Hannibal says that's because he's not a transsexual. He just wants to be badly.
Yeah, I'm just confused.
Which again, like you said, Orla, it is very having your cake and eating it too, because it's like he's not really a transsexual. He just wants to be, but he's not. He's not like the other. He's not like real transgender people or people who really want gender reassignment surgery. He just wants to be one of those people.
But we're gonna show him dressing up as a woman numerous times. Also, I don't know. He does give her more information as well. He says
the naked scene makes more sense. Maybe
yes, it's all coming together.
I get it.
The synapses firing, the connections.
I love it.
I like this.
What does he say? Oh, he tells her to check on that he will have tried to get gender reassignment surgery. Like he will have gone to hospitals to apply for it, but that he wouldn't have been accepted for through the psych evaluation. I'm assuming. Do they do a psych evaluation? I don't know. This is 1991, so I'm like, how did they go about this? I feel like there's no sensitivity. So that she should check for people who would have applied to like different hospitals surrounding. Where is Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo.
Or what was it? I forget. We don't know yet exactly where he is, but
I can't remember if we.
I also realized so that that line about him not being a real transsexual is not in this scene. It's in the Quid Pro Quo scene, which we'll get to.
You're right. Sorry.
Oh no!
I've like combined those two scenes in my head, but I think this scene's actually really short.
It's very short.
Yeah.
So after this scene, she goes back to him. We see our first glimpse at who Buffalo Bill actually is.
Okay.
So we get to a car, a woman in a car driving to some rock and roll song. And it's another time where Grey's Anatomy keeps overlapping in my mind, in my life. I've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and the woman in the car, plays Dr. Erica Hahn in Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
This is the young woman in the car in this movie.
I love that crossover.
Neat.
So much.
And she like gets into her like parking lot in her like apartment building, and we're watching her sort of through night vision goggles.
Yeah.
Someone's got night vision goggles.
Whoa. Those can't be cheap.
No, not at all.
You make money.
That.
No, I don't know. All serial killers need night vision goggles, you know?
Probably got it at a pawn shop. You got it at a pawn shop.
You can order them on Sears.
Sears. I miss Sears.
And then she's walking up to her building, and this guy is trying to move a couch into his van. And
failing.
This guy who played by Ted Levine, actor Ted Levine, he's got this kind of deep voice, and he's like, "Oh, I just need help moving this into my van." He's got a very deep voice.
I should do the impersonation.
Please do.
He's a very weird voice. And she is obviously a nice person. So she goes over and helps him move into the van, and she goes first into the van, pulling the couch.
Poor choice.
And he kind of pushes it in, and then he gets in the van and just whacks her over the head, I think a couple times to knock her out. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we now know who Buffalo Bill is, that dude.
Yeah.
It's that guy. He's got long hair, right? Blonde.
Yes. Kind of dirty blonde hair, and he's
I don't actually know what he looks like, but I did see the Family Guy cartoon version of him.
It's pretty close.
So
I'm sure they nailed it.
Dead eyes. Pretty dead eyes.
Yeah, so now we know who Buffalo Bill is. He's just kidnapped this woman.
He's crazy. He's whining.
That's not funny.
Yeah.
He's whining.
And then we find out that the next thing we find out is that Clarice is now being brought on to the Buffalo Bill case officially.
Yes.
Wow.
She is just a cadet, a green trainee, but she's going to be put on as like second in command in the highest profile FBI case they have right now, which is totally believable. Totally.
Yeah. That's how it works.
They don't even give her, like, she doesn't even have like a partner or anything. She runs, like, she goes off and just does things by herself.
Yeah.
Which
Doesn't
I don't
even
think
make
is
sense.
standard either. Like, I would assume. And
Well, she had to
she's
do
doing
it
that.
before her badge expired, you know? She had to get in there.
True. Get as much experience as possible.
Yeah.
I have a week.
They probably offered a partner, and she's like, no, I need to do this on my own.
She does have a friend cadet who I don't think is ever named, who's kind of there as a sounding board character, I suppose.
Yeah.
And this was their kind of like, I say like the only women that we see really at any
Other
point.
than the dead woman and the kidnapped women. So,
Yeah.
That's
Does it
fine.
pass the Bechdel test?
I mean, she's basically the audience character. Like, like this always happens in movies based on books. Is they need a character that wasn't in the book because we know the main character's thoughts in a book, so they need to say those thoughts to a real person in a movie.
Oh yeah,
So true.
Right. That makes sense.
That's a fun trope.
Yeah.
Gotta do
so
it.
she hops on a plane with the director Jack, and
yes.
they're
Well, I think
flying-
there's another killing, which is what spurs her into. Because the girl's gone missing, rather. So that's where she gets brought in.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the latest body found, and they also know that of the missing lady now, who is actually a senator's daughter,
High profile,
a high profile person.
This
So
is
it's
that
of highest
lady
priority to find.
that just got kidnapped. That we saw get kidnapped.
Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Erica Hahn.
Sure.
Can we just refer to her as that?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't remember her character name, so
No, I don't either.
she's just
Erica.
Dr. Han to me. Han, I can't even say her name.
Han.
Is she still in Grey's Anatomy?
No,
Side note.
no,
Oh.
not at
She
all.
die.
She had like 2 seasons really, so she didn't die. She just left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for her. Yeah. So now are we in a plane or are we in a helicopter with Crawford?
I think they're in a private jet, like they're in a plane flying
Oh,
to
yes,
this
you're right.
small
Yeah.
town or this town where they found the latest
Mm.
body.
Yeah.
And they get to are they at a funeral home, or is that just a flashback
Yeah.
scene? I can't remember.
I couldn't pinpoint that either. So
No.
they go in and there's like a load of cops, like the local sheriff and everything in this room. And then it seems like they're in a funeral home. So
Yeah, you hear music kind of playing.
yeah. And there seems to be other people there as well, which is
Mhm.
kind of weird. So
It makes sense because it makes sense that the funeral home in this small town doubles obviously as like a
Yeah.
morgue type place, the only place where they could view this latest dead body. So it
as like a
makes sense.
holding place.
Yeah.
Because they say as well when they look at the body that she's going to have to go to the state pathologist or the something,
Mhm.
that they're just like, this is preliminary.
And we have another scene of Jodie
Sexism.
Foster is a woman in a man's world. Is that the director, like Jack, kind of leans into the police chief and says, like, "Can we just move in here?" And what I want to say is not for women's ears or something like that. And then they leave.
bad.
The chief and Jack leave, and then all the male cops just kind of like standing and staring at her, like.
Mm.
Like, not even like in this, like, you're sexy, more like, why is a woman here kind of
Yeah.
stare.
Like, why woman? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're,
a
and again, all
man's
very
world.
much taller than her.
Yeah.
I wonder, is Jodie Foster
She's
very
just a short lady.
I think she's a short lady.
She's just
maybe,
a short woman.
But it's, yeah.
But then again, it's definitely on purpose film wise, because if
For
they
sure.
didn't want her to seem so small, they would just film in different ways. But
It's true. There's lots of short. There's lots
Yeah.
of short leading actors
Yeah.
out there,
And this is
they
our
get around it.
this is our like Tom.
Cruise.
What?
Tom
No,
Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Oh.
Okay.
He's a short guy.
This is
He's
our
got the shoes
second
though.
seamless flashback scene. She kind of like hears the music and is like peeking through to see this funeral, and then it's like a first person view, and she keeps walking, and then we figure out that it's now a flashback of her as a little girl, and her dad is in the coffin. So we find out that her
Mhm.
dad passed away
Yeah,
when she
she's
was
quite
very
young.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it is well done. It's literally as in like adult Clarice walks to the door and then a cut to point of view. It's very well done. And like again, nothing really changes visually. It's and like the music continues and
Mhm.
and then she's I think alerted by is door opening or Crawford calling her name or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And she's brought into the room with the body, with where all the cops go in as well. So it's just a room full of all these men and this like body bag on a slab. And so Clarice is like, okay, gotta get these men out of here. So what she says a kind of a weird, she does a kind of a weird sort of like, I'm from a rural place too kind of thing, where she's like, we know you've done your best to find her, and now we got to take it from here, guys, so go on now, we'll look after her. And it kind of works,
Yeah.
I suppose. And then they all leave, and yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, all right.
and then they I didn't realize this, then they all start putting some white powder under their noses.
Oh yeah.
And when I first watched this, I was like, they all doing coke very casually, randomly in the movie.
What were
It
they
was
doing?
basically the 80s.
They're putting like smelly salts under the nose, like basically to dull their
Yeah.
sense of smell, because this is
Yeah.
like a dead body that's
Oh.
basically been rotten in the water because they found.
You thought they were just doing
Yeah,
cocaine.
I know.
Just
But because
place it right
they were just
there.
casually doing it, I was like, what's the significance of this?
Just a quick little bump. That's all.
Yeah, just a little quick bump.
Just to get me through this autopsy.
And they open up the bag, and basically like on her back, she's got big strips of flesh like cut off on her back. And this is kind of his MO, is that he cuts off big strips of flesh, not always just on their back, but like on their body somewhere, right?
Okay.
In kind of specific shapes as well. It's not like they're not sort of torn off randomly. He's very carefully removed them, let's say. And then we have our big discovery, which I love. This is one of my favorite things in this movie, is they're kind of going around. Clarice is making little notes in her little dictaphone thing, and they take a picture of her teeth, I think, for dental records. And then the guy says, wait, there's something in her mouth, they're in her throat. So then they get the tweezers and pull out what looks like a seed, but turns out to be a what are they actually called?
A larva, right? Like a butterfly? No,
it's
a cocoon.
Yeah, like it's like a cocoon or a pupa, is it?
How?
So it's like this big. It's like a big,
Yeah.
But this
oh my gosh, is that why the cover has a booterfly on it with the face?
It's like a moth.
A moth.
Okay, whatever, Will.
Get it right, Alenka.
I don't know.
God.
I'm not the one with the
moth
facts.
called, though?
A lamb. A little baby lamb, probably. Lamb moth.
Yeah, lamb moth. That's where the name comes from, is the
lamb
moth.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm going to Google lamb moth now and see what...
And then that whole time I was thinking, I was like, was that like a rubber body? Or was there a poor actress who had to like lay there while they dug into her like mouth to pull this thing out?
I always wonder. It did look very real.
Rubber.
Just this agent phoning her up and like, I got you this great gig on what's probably going to be an Oscar-winning movie. Oh, what is it? You got to lie naked on a slab and get a fucking moth pulled out of your mouth.
Yeah, and also you're probably going to be fat shamed multiple times throughout this movie.
Because all the victims are like bigger women.
Sure.
Even though none of them I would ever like, you would never. Like, it's weird, you know what I mean? Like
it's like 90s vision of like,
what a bigger woman
like,
is.
You know, like in the 90s.
They're like size.
Everyone was 100 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
So she's 130. They're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You massive beast.
You bison.
This is when we find out.
Apparently.
This is when we find out Jodie Foster has some bug guys to go to.
Oh,
she has friends who are bug guys.
Yeah.
She's a weirdo, isn't she? Hangs out with bug guys.
Never explained how she knows them.
No, like I think we're supposed to assume they're like friends or like they went to school together. So they're there.
Quick question.
They have a back and forth that's a little more fun and like quippy because they're obviously friends. It's not all business. But even then, so they're studying this butterfly, and then the one dude creepily kind of hits on her. And it's funny. It's actually,
Lame.
He's not even like creepy. He's a bit.
He's actually, because it's in some angles he's fairly good looking, but the angle in which they cut to where he's like hitting on her, it's the way the lighting and the way he looks. He almost has like a kind of lazy eye too, so it's like this very creepy shot, and it's just kind of like, hey, even this fucking dude.
You know what I kind of don't like about that though?
Yeah.
You know what? That's just probably like a fucking honest dude just trying to shoot his shot. And they demonize it though. Like, come on, seriously. They've literally what they've done is demonize any dude trying to like take a chance to say, hey, you know what? I think you are kind of great. Do you want to hang out? Like, you really want to? They've totally demonized that for any woman. Now any dude just tries to like actually genuinely just try to fucking shoot a shot, and she's like, you fucking creep.
Well, no, she actually reciprocates. She's like, she laughs and not reciprocates, but she laughs and like is fun. I think the scene in general is played to be like, no matter what she does or where she is, a man will like in this world, like with her, even in her professional FBI role, all the men in her life don't look at her as just someone who's there to be professional.
Yeah,
sure.
It's always going to be there. Yeah. And even in this scene that's about kind of like warmer or nicer or whatever, it's still like, ugh.
When we just before this, when they're flying back, Jack says to Clarice, like, that really burned you, when I when I brought the chief aside. He's like, I was just trying to get all those country bumpkins out of there or something like that. As in when he told the chief, like, we shouldn't discuss this in front of a woman.
Yeah.
And she says, I was like, all those cops are looking at what you say, so it does matter.
Yeah. She shuts him down, like, really. And, like, there is something a bit kind of not creepy about Crawford, but he's a bit sort of like, I don't know if it's the way they shoot he's always kind of like looking at it, kind of peering down at her or something. And I don't know yeah, he's a bit sort of like, oh, young Clarice. But she totally just shoots him down. And then he kind of asks her to give a sort of a short profile of what she sees from having seen the body and all that and stuff. And so she is great. And I feel like the way her character is dealt with has aged well. Other things in the movie have not, but I think she's great, which is good. And you see it in scenes like that because she's just like, fuck off.
Leave me the fuck alone. You're an ass.
Fast forward again. They figure out like what kind of moth is, with moth it is, and it's not native to North America. Like, you can't find them in North America. You'd have to like ship these moths from Asia, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a good clue because they can then like look at shipping manifests and all that kind of stuff. But then we cut to all these moths flying around in this room, and it's a great single shot. It's quite long through Buffalo Bill's basement torture chamber.
Yeah, his lair.
So he's just got all these moths around.
Yeah.
And what else?
Moths. He's got a whole closet of like women's clothes,
mannequins. It might be the biggest basement I've ever seen.
Yeah,
because the house is not that big, and the basement just goes on forever. It's got like 6 rooms in it. It's really weird.
It is. It's like industrial doors and like staircases. It's like a bomb shelter, pretty much.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but he's got a good setup. He's got like his he's got his mirror, he's got his little desk, he's got a sewing machine, he's got all like he's well set up down there. Like it's it was a real find.
And then
real estate
is this
a real estate agent? It was like, the top's not much to look at, but the basement. Oh boy. Could you kill someone down here?
Is this the lotion on its skin scene or no? I think so, right?
It might be, because this is where, because I think if it's not the lotion skin, we definitely get where he's been keeping Dr. Han, which is in the weird kind of well that also is in the basement.
It's
the
a
big
hole.
hole.
It's just a big hole.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it would have once been used for water. I don't know, but
Who
again,
knows?
the house exterior does not look that old.
No, it's a very simple house.
It's really strange.
He did a lot of like, he was watching a lot of HGTV.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of home renos.
Could have just started a YouTube channel instead of kidnapping women, and we would never have had all these problems.
But this is kind of, we see the lair, and that's all it really is, I think.
It's quite short, I think.
If it's not this lotion skin scene.
Yeah, I think
no,
maybe...
it's not. I know it's not.
I think you just hear her screaming.
Yeah,
so you hear
screaming.
you probably, I don't think you see down into the well where she is. You just hear her. So you have him, and he's got like loud music on.
Yeah, we see him. We go all through the place. We hear her screaming, and you kind of see a hole, and we kind of see her, but we see it kind of like goes in on his, like, he's got this, again, a big dressing room with women's clothes, and he's sitting naked staring at a mirror, and then we get kind of see that. Then it cuts to the next scene. We just kind of see the whole lair.
Creepy.
Yeah, lots of so it is creepy.
And the next scene is also part of the drink's name. So so the next scene is like the official, we're offering you basically like they go back to Hannibal. She does, Clarice, and she's offering him like a prison transfer. He's gonna get a window with a view. He'll get time outside. he'll get all these different things if he helps with the Buffalo Bill case.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's like signed by the governor or senator, whoever the woman is, I think, whose daughter has been kidnapped. So she's
Mhm.
promising all these
right.
things. If
Forgot
you,
about that.
Mhm.
If you agree to it. So she what's the name of the island that he'll get to stay on, and he'll get to walk on the beach and swim in the ocean and.
I forget. It's a specific like island in like upstate New York or something.
Yeah.
And there's like a beach, and he'll get to walk on the beach with an armed guard. But like every like once a month or something like that.
All I was thinking was like, how much is this costing the taxpayer? Like to house this guy on this fucking private island.
But this is the quid pro quo scene.
Yes.
So our drink is called the quid pro quo
Everybody drink.
because he is they're doing this back and forth. It was like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Quid pro quo. And he just keeps saying it. Yeah,
Quid pro
it's like
quo.
an
one for one, or,
exchange.
an exchange.
You just keep saying it. Can you say it 10 times fast? Quid pro
Quid
quo.
pro quo. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo.
That's just how I envision how the scene goes. She's like
that's
trying to
kind
get a
of
word in, and he's
there's
just
a
like,
resurgence
quid
of
pro quo.
that. There's a resurgence of that right now with Trump, right? With the with like the Russian tapes. It's like no quid pro
oh
quo.
my god, yeah, and they kept saying it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's so funny. Yeah.
But
I've been
basically
staying off
this,
the internet.
yeah, this is the scene. He gets the files, he gets to read them all, and this is where he tells her to look for people who went to look for gender reassignment surgery, and that he tells her that Buffalo Bill is not a real transsexual. He just wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And she has to tell him some personal information, which is her end of the bargain. So we get, she talks about, what does he actually ask her? 'Cause she talks about being on, because her father died when she was quite young. So
Mhm.
she ends up having to go to a farm with her uncle, I think.
Mhm.
With, was it, it's like a ranch, I think.
Yeah,
and
he goes to like a ranch, and he immediately assumes that like her uncle or the rancher molested her or something,
Yeah.
Right.
because she's very
That's
like,
what
she
I
doesn't want to
did.
say like why, because she says she ran away from the
Yes.
ranch, so he's trying to deduce why she ran away.
Yes. And
And
it's
so
this
it's kinda-
traumatic
yeah.
memory for her.
So that's the quid pro quo, is the back and forth of he'll give information on the case, but she has to give personal details of her life to
Weird.
Hannibal.
Whatever. Okay. All right. But she withheld information about why she ran away.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I didn't get
she's
through that part quite. Yeah.
Yeah, she's giving him like little snippets and then asking him questions. And how does that scene end? She gets something useful out of him other than it's the transsexual thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that they look up hospitals around that area sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next scene is the lotion on his skin scene.
Yes.
She's screaming in the hole, and he's got his little dog Precious. He's holding this little dog Precious. This Buffalo Bill, yeah.
Nice.
This dog is called Precious. What kind of dog is it? It's like a little fluffy white thing.
Yeah, I don't know dogs, so
It's that fluffy white one.
the fluffy
You guys
white,
know.
the classic
Like
fluffy,
it's like this
cute-faced
size.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, the ones that don't grow beyond like a certain size.
yeah. And he's like, it puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Weird.
But he just keeps repeating it as well. So she keeps saying like, she's like screaming at him and cursing at him and everything. And he's got like a little basket that he's lowered down with the lotion in it. And he's just holding the dog and like the shots are like looking up from the well at him standing over, kind of being like, it puts the lotion on its skin. Like, it's so
Good
creepy.
Lord. Why does he want her to put lotion on?
Ha-ha.
Is she
Why
clothed?
indeed.
She's clothed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got her clothes on.
Okay.
She just he wants to lotion her up for reasons,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't. Can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't quite know the full extent of why he is cutting skin off people.
No, I don't think at this point Clarice hasn't quite worked it out either. So she's
I guess. I could
But
guess.
Hannibal knows.
Yes.
He does know?
Well, Hannibal
Yes.
knows everything.
He knows exactly everything, and he is not telling until he gets all the personal information he desires.
Yes.
Right. Weird. But, okay.
So, we then cut back to the asylum, and we find out that Jack and Clarice, they took a gamble. They actually never got the senator's permission. They faked her signature just to trick Hannibal to come onto the case. So they never got a deal to bring him to a new prison and all this.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
So the asylum owner, Chilton, knows this, found this out, but he made his own calls to the senator and he got that deal for real.
Oh, okay.
So
Problem
he's now talking to
solved.
Hannibal and
They want
and informing him of that.
they want because they know that Hannibal knows who he is, so they want Hannibal to I think does Hannibal say that he'll give the name?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, he knows this Bill guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
he knows who it is.
because one of his patients who was murdered by him knew him, and so he knows his name, but he's not giving it. Yeah.
All right.
Just kind of a ridiculous plot contrivance when you think about it, but Hannibal does actually know him. It's like,
I know. That's what I said. That's like guessed it off the top. It was like, we're just asking a fellow serial killer if you know another fellow serial killer.
and
Turns
he did.
out he does.
He does. They got beers at the bar every freaking Friday. Caught up on who they cut up, you know?
Oh, God.
That's all.
Alenka has this like ability to somehow guess what's going to happen in this movie. Sometimes like way before we even started the fucking movie.
Like, you've kind of nailed
Sometimes.
all of it. And
Sometimes not so good, you know?
So they fly out Lecter
yes.
to meet with the senator
Yes.
whose daughter is missing. They wheel him out with the fucking scariest mask
Yes.
possible. They're like, which
Yeah.
mask should we get the scary serial killer?
Yeah.
It's the bitey mask.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to bite people, so it makes sense.
He does eat people, so let's mask
You
him
can't
up.
like right through that, you know? It's like steel bars. He's not biting through that.
Especially with the senator there. It would be pretty
Yeah.
unfortunate if he was
Got a little chunk
munching
out.
on the senator.
Nom, nom, nom. Yeah.
And then he, because Hannibal is he's a little cheeky fellow.
Oh, yes.
He's got to like make some sort of comment on the senator's breasts.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
They literally they wheel him over and what does she say?
Well, first of all, she dresses him as Dr. Lecter, and I think if
Yeah.
you kill and eat people and are in prison for 10 years, we shouldn't be calling you doctor anymore.
Sure.
I think you've lost that right.
I think she was probably trying to show respect though, because they want something from him.
True.
You know, she's like, "Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
totally.
peanut butter him up." That's from Family Guy. I can't take credit for that. It's peanut butter him up, you know. Yeah.
I don't think I want to think about Anthony Hopkins covered in peanut butter.
Peanut butter baby's my favorite
Oh.
vine, though. Can I just slip that in there? It's the best one.
Anyways,
Okay.
back to the senator.
What
and
does
her
he
boobs.
say about her boobies?
He asks her, I can't remember how they get to this, but he asks her did you nurse Catherine? That's her name. So he asked, did you nurse Catherine yourself? And she's like, did you breastfeed her? Like initially he asked, like, did you nurse her yourself? And she's like, what? As you would.
What?
Like, did you breastfeed her?
Ew, I hate his voice.
And she's
That's
like,
pretty much his
yes.
voice, yeah.
Yeah.
She's obviously like outraged and says, yes, I did. And he it cuts to like a real close up of his eyes. And he kind of goes like, it toughened your nipples, didn't it?
Weird.
It's like right into his face. So she obviously is not impressed with us and like storms off. And then he shouts the name.
And I forget the name, but I forget the name he shouts.
It's an anagram.
Yeah. Lewis Friend. He says,
Yes.
yeah.
Huh?
He says, he shouts out the name Lewis Friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the name he says that that's Buffalo Bill's name.
Yeah.
His real name?
Wow.
Well,
We will find out.
Louis Friend.
she does get a great line after he says the thing about her boobs, where she's like, what she says, like, take this monster back to Baltimore, which is where he was in prison. And then he shouts the name, so he's like, no, I want my island.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so now they have the name.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so he shouts the name, and then he also shouts the description of him in the kind of general location where he might be.
Whoa!
So
where will he be? Where is he? At the bar, waiting for his bud.
The killer bar.
I mean,
he's
somewhere
like, boy,
in
it's been like 20 years. Haven't seen my friend Hannibal in a bit.
somewhere in like the Mideast there, in that Washington, Baltimore area, because that's where all these killings are sort of taking place. But in multiple different states are they finding the bodies, because they believe that he's dumping these bodies, and they show up downriver and like states over, so they're not sure exactly where he might be dumping them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
There's that scene is capped off by a fantastic and very Hannibal line, which is like, "Oh, Senator, love your suit," because she's wearing like a very Hillary Clinton outfit, I would say.
Oh yeah,
what a creepy man.
He is. He is a creep, but he's like Anthony Hopkins is so good in this movie. Like he won Best Actor, and he only had like, what is it, less than 10 minutes of screen time? Like,
really?
fully?
Yeah, he's not in it that much.
No, but he won. He's nominated for Best Actor, not even supporting actor, Best Actor for it. So, yeah,
I'm happy for him to have it.
Poor Jody.
So, now we see that. Now we see that Hannibal's being kept in this courthouse, basically. I think it's a courthouse, right? Yeah.
It's a really weird building.
Yeah. It's like this giant, almost like an old school gym.
It looks like a school.
It does, yeah. It looks like an old schoolhouse or something.
It's like polished wooden floors.
Yeah. And it's completely empty aside from a giant big cage that he's being kept in.
Right.
With like a table.
Yeah. It looks like a bird cage.
It's got a rug, right? There's a rug.
It's probably got a rug, I think. It's got table. It's got like
These
a nice desk.
These are the details that I remember. I remember nothing else, but there's a rug.
It's a nice rug.
Yeah,
there's a nice
tastefully. Yeah.
I know there's a rug.
All of this is like, he's got all this special stuff because he's cooperating. So he's getting like his own desk, and like he's got like a changing curtain, like one of those like folding, what are they called? Changing room separators things.
Everything looks
fancy.
kind of quaint and old. It's all very kind of like old hospital or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
here we see Clarice Starling sneak in.
Yes.
She kind of like sneaks in through the guards. Convinces the guards. Yeah.
She has his paintings, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, she has his paintings. Yeah,
which is what like his sketches that he's had from. Because that was one of the things. Oh, we forgot about Miggs.
Miggs.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Miggs.
Oh, poor Miggs.
He killed Miggs.
Good.
Yeah, or he got Miggs to kill himself.
Yeah, he somehow convinced Miggs to kill himself.
How'd he do it?
Well, that's the question.
What did he do? How
He's
did
an
he
evil
kill himself?
genius.
Because I think Miggs swallowed his tongue, and that's how he died. So it's kind of we're made to believe that Hannibal did it because of what Miggs did to Jodie Foster when she was leaving. Yeah. So is it kind of a like? Because at this point he's sort of like he's doting on her a bit, I suppose. So he's like
he's got like kind of a protectiveness almost, or a little bit. He really likes her in some sort of way.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy, but also sort of respectful. It's really strange.
How does one swallow their own tongue?
Yeah. I never really delve into that. It's just kind of like laid down as a fact, and then they just kind of move on. So he gets his paintings are taken from him, all his perks from his cell before he moves because he did that. So Clarice uses this as a way to get into the building where he's being kept in the giant cage in the attic. Yeah, that's the thing where it's like this building where he's in like the very top floor. It's at the 5th floor or something. It's really strange.
Anyway, she approached him, hands him the drawings, and they have a back and forth, but she's like, Lewis friend is an anagram for iron sulfide or fool's gold, which is it's like a common name for iron sulfide, I guess.
Yeah, because it looks like gold. You get it in like rocks and stuff that'll have little glinting pieces. So people would assume that it was really just something pretending to be gold.
Yeah. So it was his little cheeky. He told them the Buffalo Bills were named Lewis Fiend, but he was leading them on a wild goose chase.
Yes,
meanie.
Because he really wants Clarice to succeed.
Yes.
Okay. So does he tell her?
No.
But he tells her that everything that she needs to know is in the files that she gave him.
Yeah.
Okay.
That it's all there. Like you'll find out who he is, and he gives her back the case files just as basically as Chilton and the police come up to basically kick her out of the courtroom.
Yeah.
Because she's not supposed to be there.
Talking to him. Yeah. We also have the very famous, often quoted scene where she's talking about, because in order for him to like give her information, she has to like delve into more of why she left the ranch, which is where she tells the story of the screaming lambs.
Yes.
What's the actual?
So basically, so she tells him why she ran away from the ranch was because she was snuck up to the barn one day. She heard basically like screaming. She looked through, and that's where they were slaughtering the lambs, I believe.
Yeah,
killing the lambs. So she tried to save one of the lambs and ran away with it. But she just, she didn't want to hear the screaming of the lambs any longer.
Gotcha. Fair.
Great thing though is they never say the title of the movie in this movie.
They actually never do. Yeah, I was thinking there.
You
like,
think they would? You think he'd just chime in? And he's like, "So you're waiting for the silence of the lambs?" Two.
I wonder, is there like
there
a deleted
is a second
scene?
one?
No, there isn't.
Oh,
sadly not. Well, there were other.
There's other movies, but not like, again, in the same world with Anthony Hopkins too. But like, it's weird. They're not like sequels or prequels. They're just connected movies.
It's so weird, and most of them are not as good as this.
No,
sadly. Plus, a lot of the time, like in the ones after this, he's playing himself in the past, but he's clearly older. That it doesn't really work. It's kind of like they try to like. Yeah.
The last important piece of information, which leads to her finding the killer, is Lecter asks her like, "What does this killer do?" And Clarice says he kills women, and he goes like, "No, that's incidental. What does he gain by killing?" Yeah, and then basically says he covets. That's his nature. He covets, and then
he covets.
And then he says, "Do we seek out things to covet? No, we covet things we see every day." That's kind of the crucial piece of information.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I think, are we back at Quantico where she's there with her friend so that she can?
No, it continues on with the big scene. This is the big scene, right? Yeah.
Where he escapes?
Yeah.
I should describe this scene.
You should describe this scene.
Please do.
Okay. Right. So the next scene, iconic, I'm pretty sure. This is why actually Anthony Hopkins was nominated. Fun fact. It was for this scene. Yeah. So he gets it's like lunchtime, guards like ding ding lunch.
It's actually his second dinner of the night.
Excuse me, I know the scene. It was lunchtime.
It's not lunch.
It was lunchtime. And they were like, "Luncharoni, come and get it." And he was like playing some music or whatever, and he's sitting in a chair, and he looks at his lunch and he's like, a sham. And he just bites off the face of the one guy. And he's like, nom, 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 nom. And the other guy comes, another guy comes, and he slices that other guy with some sort of knife. And then he noms that guy too. And then he's free. He's a free man now. So, oh yeah. He was like chained up and he got off his chain or something, maybe. I have a really bad memory, so I actually can't recall if any of this happens. He definitely eats some guy's face.
Did you pass this test in film school?
I dropped
when
out.
You had to recall this scene?
Good for you. Film school is a sham.
How accurate was I, really?
You're pretty spot on.
Yeah.
We did forget to...
the time of the meal. Was it liver? Were they giving him liver?
Was it lamb chops?
It was lamb chops because of the screaming of the lambs. It's Lecter likes playing little games, even if he's the only one who knows.
Oh, he asked for lamb. He asked for lamb. Okay.
Yeah, for his second
Extra
dinner.
Rare.
Okay. You guys please tell me the actual scene because I want to relive it and know what I got all wrong.
We forgot about whenever he's in the airport hangar with the senator or governor or whatever she was. No, senator, isn't it? He steals, or no, it's before that. He steals Chilton's pen. Because Pen is taunting him in his jail cell saying like, oh, they're never going to let you go to this place and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be right back here with me. He's there like playing with the pen in his teeth and stuff. And then you see... Hannibal kind of like clocking it and going, and they hammer it home so much. It's so funny how many shots there are
of this pen.
Of the pen, and then like him taking the pen, and there's even like an extended scene where they give Chilton something to sign and he can't find his pen. Oh, where's the pen? So then obviously this is the pen that he uses the nib or something, I think, to open his handcuffs whenever they're bringing him his second dinner. So
yeah. I just recalled he really beat to shit like the second guy or something, right? Like he really beat that guy. He gone. Like he was well dead and he was still beaten.
Well, yeah, he
Did he take his...
So it's a piece of gold medal from the top of the pen that he's had in his like mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he palms it, and then the guards bring in his second dinner. They have to has to sit down and then be like handcuffed to the bars as they bring in him his dinner. And he unlocks his handcuffs, and then as he gets the guy to really like move, he's like, oh. He like buys himself time because he's like, please don't set the don't set the plate on the paintings. Yeah, mind the drawings. Yeah,
yeah. He's got his little desk.
So he buys himself some more time.
And he's been drawing Clarice as well with the lamb.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Weird.
There's like a weirdly kind of like sensual drawing of Clarice as she is
on
now,
a lamb,
as she's now holding a baby lamb. Baby lamb?
Yeah.
We're all babies. It's a weird, he obviously doesn't want his dinner placed on Clarice's image. So.
Lamb.
Yeah. And then he stabs him where? Oh no, he handcuffs him.
Yes.
He doesn't stab him right. Yeah. He handcuffs the other guy.
With is it what do you call the things that they have? What are they called? Is it a baton or something?
Yeah.
And then he beats him with that.
Yeah.
So then is it the second guy that he literally just bites in the face?
Oh yeah, he bites.
Yeah.
Well, he handcuffs the one dude. Then he bites the second guy in the face. He basically just eats his face off. Yeah. That guy's like down for the count, but like is like struggling to get away. And then he beats the first guy they handcuffed with the baton. And then though there's a line before, so when the guards come up and say, ready when you are, doctor, to get him to go and sit down so they can handcuff him. So after he beats to death the one guy, he kind of like, he's beating him for a while and it's like blood spraying all over his face. And then he kind of like looks up into the air. It's this iconic shot where he's like looking up in the air and his face is all bloody, but he's kind of like, there's classical music playing or something like that. Yeah. And you see the like bloodied guard down in, on the cell, and he's kind of looking up in the air like in ecstasy basically. And it's a great shot.
And he does
kill a while.
Yeah, he's getting back in his groove, I guess.
Yeah.
He does like where he's got his little tape recorder playing the classical music, and he kind of like does a little sort of like movement to the music as he goes. And after
Like
you
he could
Sergeant,
orchestrate.
Yeah, he's like ready when you are, Sergeant Pembray.
Yeah. It's so camp. Oh, I love it.
I like it.
Yeah. So now there's like a manhunt in the building for him. They like, where is he? And then they run up to the courtroom, and fucking the first guy is like strung up, like and like almost skinned and stuff.
He's
like
filleted him. He's like he's used. I think the skin from his back is like wings.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he kind of looks like an angel. It's really insane. And they're coming up in the elevator and everything, and they're generally being kind of a bad SWAT team. They come in, they discover it, and then they find the other cop is lying on the ground, and they're like, they realize that, he's still alive. So one of the cops has to sit and hold his hand and make sure he's okay. And then they take him downstairs in the elevator, and they're putting him into the ambulance. Like, you're going to be okay. And he's like driving off in the ambulance. And
the main like sergeant, like the chief of police or whatever, the main SWAT guy has the worst fucking mustache you've ever seen.
He did.
He's got it goes like farther down, like here, like it's just slightly way too long. It's like a pencil thin mustache that goes like
a little too far.
Like I feel like he thought he got cast in like The Greatest Showman, and then ended up being in Silence of the Lambs because his mustache is like a weird. Like
it's a
18th
twirly.
Century, yeah.
You should be
but it's not even
twirling it.
twirly. It's just you would be twirling it, but it's not even curly.
But
It's just kind of goes down.
He didn't have
a little too
time
far.
that morning. He just didn't have time that morning.
I guess so. It was very distracting for me, this whole scene.
Good Lord. And he's in it a lot as well. So.
Yeah, and so they are like, they're in the elevator with the hurt cop, and then there's drips of blood from the top of the elevator, and they're like, they know that they think that he's wounded. They think
they heard
Lecter's
shots.
wounded. They heard shots. Yeah.
Okay.
So they think Lecter's on top of the elevator. So they wheel the cop out. They get him into the ambulance, and then the other cops go on the floor above and open up the elevator doors and look down, and we see like the white clothes that Hannibal was wearing. We see him like on top of the elevator, and they're like, they give him a warning shot, which they're just like, do they really, like, some guy he's like being still, and they just shoot him in the fucking leg. Do cops really just shoot people in the leg as a warning shot?
I feel like he shoots him in the thigh as well. And I feel like, is that not where there's like really serious arteries?
Hold on one second, you guys.
Like,
he just filleted a fucking dude. Reason enough to shoot and immobilize,
Yes,
I would say.
But the police are supposed to be, I guess shooting in the leg is fine.
Yeah.
For Hannibal,
I think,
For Hannibal Lecter, that's fine.
even
Dr.
if he
Lecter.
ends up losing the leg,
You didn't get that PhD for nothing. You refer to him as doctor, okay?
Yeah. Dr. Phil is a doctor. So.
And he doesn't move at all. So it's like, oh, he's dead. And they pull open the top of the elevator, and he falls through. And wouldn't you know, it's a guy with his fucking face cut off.
Nice. So he's wearing that guy's clothes.
Yeah. So we cut back to the ambulance.
Meanwhile, in the ambulance.
He's in the ambulance. I knew it. I knew he was going to be in the ambulance.
Hannibal sits up with this gross face. He peels off the guy's face.
Shut up.
He did do it really well, I have to say.
Yeah. He's an artist.
That's gross.
It is. It's really gross.
Yeah, he's just straight up wearing the face. So now he's escaped. He's officially fully escaped, and that's essentially like the last time we see Hannibal until a certain point. But
Okay.
Yeah. He's on the
So
list.
he was playing the injured man?
yeah, he played the injured cop because he was wearing that cop's
see.
face. So they
his
thought
uniform.
in his uniform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. It's very clever.
He had a lot of time before anybody came, eh?
Oh, quite a bit. Yeah, that has to have taken like at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
A long time.
It didn't make any sense because the way it's played in the movie, it feels like it's just like maybe like half an hour afterwards where they realize that the two cops haven't answered their radios. It's yeah.
But
again, he's an artist,
so he's fast. He picks it up quick.
So next is sort of a montage, right? Is it of her doing a bunch of research in these case files with her gal pal friend?
Yes. So they're in like their like FBI dorm room, I suppose. And they're kind of voicing out everything, and she's saying like, Lecter says that everything we need is in these case files, and then you kind of make it look as if they've been there for hours, and then they kind of solve the thing in about 2 seconds. So then they start focusing on the thing of we covet the things that we see every day. So then he knew her.
Yeah,
so the first girl,
his first victim. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the first victim, we figure out, or I think we were told this earlier, but it's really brushed aside. But now it's kind of more in the focus. Is the first victim was the only victim he bothered to weigh down?
Yes. Yeah. So she was found like third or something, because the other ones obviously were found because they just floated.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But she was actually the first victim, and because she was weighed down, stands to reason, and she was found much closer to where she was from. And because now she thinks that the killer knew this woman, that's where the killer must be, or be connected to this woman. So she goes to the hometown of the first victim. To do a little investigation.
And meanwhile, Crawford tells her that they've found him.
Yeah.
Does she know that at that point, I think? Yeah.
They found him. He's on his way. He's flying on his way. And she's like, oh, I can be there in like 3 hours. It's not that far. And then he's like, no, just stay there, do some digging around. It might still be important. But they say his name is James Gum. We found manifest orders for the moths. We found a bunch of other things. And he's got a location, a house here. And this is where we're going to go get him, somewhere in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's still in this town in, I forget where.
Somewhere. Small town.
She's just hanging out.
Yes.
Whatever. Small town, wherever.
Yeah. Well, she's actually 3 hours away from where they are, so it can't be. I can't remember where that. Never mind. I can't remember where the other place is.
Yeah, it's near Chicago is where they think he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she does some investigating. She talks to her friends her friend that she worked with at a store, and her friend doesn't know anyone who, no man that she was with. She wasn't really.
Yeah. Oh, she looks in her bedroom as well, and she finds very easily, I have to say.
Yeah.
Because she's sort of like looking through stuff, sort of like half-arsed, and then she finds there's like. Because it's a movie, of course, there's one of those music boxes with like jewelry, and you open it in a little ballerina. And then she somehow knows to like look in the kind of the top bit where there's a little kind of like she's been hiding Polaroids. There's a secret compartment. Where she's been posing for somebody. Or it's not clear if she took the photos herself or if someone else took the photos, but she's in like her underwear. Which makes Clarice think that, yes, she knew there was a man. She knew who James Gum was. So then she talks to her friend who says that she was obsessed with sewing. Her life was sewing. And then she used to hang out with this old lady whose name is... what was her name?
Her name...
Mrs. Littman? Is it Littman or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Not important.
Mrs. Littman.
Some old bitch.
But we also see so when she gets the call from Crawford that they found him, she has just looked into there's like her sewing closet and stuff. And there we see kind of like the beginnings of a dress or like a kind of like it's like a pattern almost, and we see very clear identifiable like patches that are exactly how he cut the skin off the back of the one victim. like the same
Weird.
exact way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now it's kind of clear that
I know what he's doing.
he's cutting patches of skin off people. He's probably a tailor or some sort of thing. He knows how to
Mhm.
sew.
What a sick cow. That's sickening.
Yeah.
Ew.
So now we know. So then we know he's a tailor. We know that there's a skin suit because then we cut to. We cut to back to Buffalo Bill in the lair,
Mm.
and this is where now the Goodbye Horses song is playing. The famous song where he dances naked.
Oh,
Goodbye horses. And he's like got a video camera and he's putting on lipstick, and then he goes, "Would you fuck me?
would you
I'd fuck me."
While he's like putting on his lipstick and everything, and like,
Yeah.
oh man,
He's got confidence.
I mean,
Nothing wrong with
yeah.
He does. Yeah. I think you have to have confidence if you're a serial killer.
Well, that's
Probably. Yeah.
So he's playing this music very loudly. Meanwhile, Dr. Erica Hahn in the pit
Yep.
is
Lotioned up.
yeah, she's got like this pail because that's what he like lowers down to her. Like supplies and the lotion and whatnot. She's like fashioning up this
supplies and lotion.
she's fashioning up this like this bone that she's kept. I forget where she gets the bone from, chicken meal or something.
He gave her. Oh, because that's the other thing is he's like partially starves them for a few days, which that's why he keeps them because it like loosens their skin or something.
Yeah.
Like, so he's given her like a really small amount of food. So she has this like one chicken bone that she's trying to lure in per Precious the dog.
Yeah.
Aww.
So she's trying to get Precious. And eventually succeeds.
Yes.
Precious falls into the pit.
Dog for?
Well, she's holding the dog and she's threatening to like break the dog's neck if if Buffalo Bill doesn't get her a telephone. Yeah, get her a telephone so that she can call someone.
It kind of works as well because he's quite like he's emotional about it because obviously he's like Precious no, and then like they're kind of having this back and forth. And he's getting very distraught, and then
simultaneously we're seeing a scene of the SWAT team and Jack Crawford's team closing in on this place, on this house, and it's happening simultaneously. We're seeing her yell at Buffalo Bill, and they're having the back and forth, and then we see the SWAT team approaching the house and getting ready to like barge into the house, and they do the great, they have a flower van pull up, and it's actually a secret agent who's like delivering flowers. Rings the doorbell. We hear the doorbell ring, and we're like, oh, he's going to be taken down now. And so he gets.
It's so well done.
He gets
It's
his
not
shirt
gonna
and his
happen.
pants on because he's wearing like women's clothes at this point still, or like a robe.
Yeah.
And he gets up
Hector.
there. He has like a big fucking magnum gun, basically.
He puts it in the back of his.
Yeah. And
Not Hector.
he puts that up on the
Lecter.
stove, and then he opens the door, and then we see it is Agent Clarice Starling.
Dun, dun,
Nice.
dun.
Yeah.
Because
What's
they're
she
at
doing?
the wrong address.
They're not at the house, his real house. It's
What
a fake
is she
address.
doing at that house?
Well, she's taken the tip from the first victim's friend that used to sew with this Mrs. Lippman.
so she
across the
thinks she's
street.
going to this old lady's house?
Yeah.
Oh,
And he answers the door, and are we to assume this is Mrs. Lippman's son, right?
We were talking about this when we were watching it, and we couldn't decide if
killed
that's
her.
actually, or like, if it is, because he seems sort of like he's very well established in the house as well.
Mhm.
And she obviously knew him. So,
Yeah.
it
And he
feels like
knows
he's
how to
owned
sew.
it for a long time. So, not just like, because he says that Mrs. Lippman's only died a couple of years ago. And so I guess, I don't know, it's never really confirmed either way.
Okay.
But then
Yeah.
he does have a different name. But then is that his real name?
Grandson,
Gum?
maybe.
I
I don't know.
don't know.
Well, anyway, he answers the door, and she's all like, "Oh, like, well, she because he does mention." Well, she had a son. Like, I bought this house a few years ago, but she has a son. I might have his number, which is why I thought maybe
Yeah.
he's talking about himself. Like, this is her son.
I think you're right.
So he's like, rummaging around for the number, and she's standing there and she's looking around at this house, which is completely fucking. It's just so dirty and messy because obviously he doesn't really live much up there. He's all in the basement bomb shelter. Right. This is where she realizes, like, oh my God, this is him. This is Buffalo Bill.
And little moth just comes up and lands on the table beside her.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And moth, as she's standing there, because like obviously like we know it's him, but even as she's standing there before she's realized, there's like a picture of a framed moth on the wall as well that she can't see, but we can see. And we know as well like where his gun is, and you're seeing all these little details. It's so tense. No. And she's working it out, and you're like, oh no, run. Then she asks, do you have a telephone?
Yeah.
And then I think that's when he realizes that she's realized. Because up until that point, he's kind of been playing along. So
yeah,
right.
Like he's doing like it's kind of hard to tell what his intentions really are. Like, is he planning to like kill her or whatever, or is he planning to like play along and then get her out somehow? But she asks for a telephone, and then he kind of chuckles. And then she pulls out the gun, and then he runs around the corner and runs away with his gun
into the basement.
Okay.
And then it's kind of a little bit of a long scene of her and her FBI training, like opening every door and like checking every corner.
Yeah, and then you realize just how big the basement is as well. It goes on. There's like 15 doors down there.
Oh Lord.
It's probably too long when you think about it now, how long it takes to get to the really scary part. So she finds like where he's been keeping Aragon, and she's like talking to her, and she's like, FBI, don't worry, you're gonna be okay, but I'm gonna have to leave you for a minute because I have to go and find him.
And she calls her a bitch. She's like, no, don't leave me, you bitch.
I do love that that character is written so like, she's like obviously nice because she helps the guy, but ultimately she just screams at him constantly, like abuse. And she's
gonna murder this dog, this innocent poor dog.
She's
gonna die. She's been in a fucking well.
But I love it. I'm like, do it. That's right. Kill the dog.
No,
kill Precious.
Don't kill the dog. Save the pup.
Oh, he's so precious.
So she's like going all the corners. We also see this is when we also see the glimpse of the actual skin suit.
Yeah,
she sees it. It's like half made. It's like all different pieces of the women's body kind of sewn together.
It's like a dress or a pantsuit.
No, it's like a real person.
Pant.
It's like a skin suit so that he could actually be a woman.
But if you don't get matching skin, like
they were all white female victims. That was the point, is that all the victims had similar looks, ages, and weights as well.
So he could match them.
Why didn't he just skin one lady?
That's a really good point.
Good question, I like it.
Why do you have to make it out of 7 ladies? He could have had one skin suit, one kill,
Maybe he would have been like a woman. But in the Truman Show, where he's trying to like make her face out of all the things. You're like trying to make a face out of like things cut out of a magazine, and then you make the ultimate face because it's like.
I mean, just like it's like Frankenstein, like Dr. Frankenstein had to use many cadavers to make Frankenstein, so.
One cadaver is never enough.
Yeah.
I don't know what a cadaver is.
It's a great word.
It's a great word. Well, I could assume, a dead body that he dug up, some pieces were rotten, some pieces fallen apart. Yeah. I could believe that.
Anyway, he killed a bunch of women and skinned them, and we don't know why he couldn't just do it to one woman, so...
Maybe there's qualities of each one that he liked. And he was like, maybe if I skin them, I will have those qualities too.
We also see this is why I think that this is Mrs. Lippman's son. Isn't that Mrs. Lippman in the tub? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like this dank, like dark cellar room of like this dirty bathtub with a like rotting corpse, like the crypt keeper, like rotting corpse.
Gross.
But that must reek though.
Yeah.
Like, is she in a... Like, why?
Unless he's got some eucalyptus in there, probably
Maybe
smells
he just
pretty bad.
has the cadaver cocaine stuff like under his nose all the time. So.
Yeah.
Or just real cocaine. He's just doing real cocaine the whole time.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot.
But like, I assume that's Mrs. Lippman. That's his mother, because they're also playing on the whole, like, Ed Gein murders his mother and other serial killers.
Psycho. Yeah.
Psycho murdered his mother. And
actually, no, I think you are right.
Yeah. So that's also scary. And then the scariest part, all
it's
the
so
lights
scary.
go off.
Oh no.
It's so scary.
All the lights go off.
I'm terrified
and then it's
of the dark.
And then suddenly we hear like a ping, and the night vision goggles turn on, and we're from Buffalo Bill's perspective. And the whole, like, it's a whole scene of basically, we see Clarice basically rummaging around the dark, and he's like slowly reaching towards her, but then backing away, and and then putting his gun up towards her, but he's almost like playing with her a little bit in that way too.
Hand coming in, and I hate that scene. I find it so tense. Like, 'cause there are definitely other bits of the movie that are like supposed to be tense but aren't, and that scene gets me every time. It's so scary.
It's because I don't think the score is very loud in this. Whenever the scenes are like, the score is just like, okay, it's like a cartoon now. But
yeah, I think you're right, because I've never noticed it in that scene. So I think they just kind of rely more on the kind of creepy atmosphere of like, because it's so dank and
gross.
It's like it is a layer. Like,
it is.
He is Dracula. Some kind of vampire.
So he, like, at a certain point raises his gun, and then it cuts to like a really kind of dark shot, but you see the barrel of the gun and him like cock the trigger, and obviously she hears that, turns around, and they have like a shootout. She somehow doesn't get shot.
It's done like as if he does it really slowly so that she just hears it and immediately shoots him. Like, there's a note, like it doesn't really make any sense, but either way, he's dead.
She shoots him, kills him. Also in the shootout, she shoots him and also shoots a window out behind him. And they didn't do their research into basement apartments that are like 2 flights of floors down, because so much light spills in.
Oh man.
After he shoots the window.
And then suddenly you see more of the room and stuff. I was that's not how that works.
It's way too bright. They went down like 3 flights of stairs to get to this basement.
Right. There'd be no windows, probably, realistically.
No.
I assume structurally, if you want to make a basement that's that big under a house that is not big, that you have to go pretty far underground. It's basically like subway tunnel depth, I'm assuming.
And for people not to hear that screaming.
And it's very loud music. I mean, if I was his neighbor.
I'd be calling 411,
Oh, yeah.
So that's the end of BB, Buffalo Bill.
BB, what does she see in this room once it's been bathed in light?
Oh, there's loads of, which I've never noticed before, swastikas everywhere.
Yeah. Because not only is he a serial killer murderer, but he's also a neo-Nazi, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
There were because there's one shot earlier in the movie where you see a bedspread or something that has like swastikas, but they're like yellow swastikas that are like sewn onto something.
But it's kind of like a half shot, so you might not notice it. You might just think, oh, it's just some pattern, and then you visually see all this swastika stuff, and you're like, okay.
I've never noticed that before.
It just seems kind of like, did they really need to put that? I was like,
because we don't get any real background to who he is, really. No. So it's just like
they're just like, here you go, this too.
He's a really bad guy.
And then cut to her graduation ceremony in the
Where's
FBI.
Hannibal? Where is Hannibal?
Keep watching. Keep
watching.
She's graduating. She's full FBI agent, because all it takes is taking down the #1 serial killer at the time to become an FBI agent, I guess.
It is.
That seems like a lot to do.
She probably wrote her test.
Her friend didn't graduate.
Also, her bug friends are there too. They're like,
that's good.
They're randomly in that scene.
That's support.
Why?
They're supportive. Because they're friends. And she was like, hey, you guys, I graduated. And they're like, oh,
Well,
sick.
that's another indication that like these are her friends rather than like professional colleagues, because they're like, why are like they're not part of the FBI? They're just guys who like bugs. But
yeah, and
they do have a really good cake at that graduation thing that are at the party, because it's like a big round cake, but it has the FBI logo, I guess, on it.
Yeah,
it's like printed onto the icing.
The insignia.
I wanted that cake.
Wanted that cake.
It's like frosting.
So she's having a good time, and Jack is like, and this is another scene. Like Jack is commending her and like basically like praising her, but in this way that's it's kind of an evocative of like, we're gonna go on a date real soon, you and me.
Like actually though, it's so.
Love it.
I don't know if it's a performance because he never says anything very like. But it's just, he's always a bit kind of like...
What's the way they do the shots and have her reaction? And and the way he says things is very like,
Yeah. There's like
yeah. Anyway, like... she's like, oh, there's a phone call for you. She answers the phone, and who shall it be?
Her mom and dad saying congrats.
Actually, yeah.
Well, dad's dead, so no.
Right, just her mom.
As his mom, actually. Because
actually,
that's why she had to go to the ranch.
It's actually the baby lamb who's like, that's
Baby lamb was like, thanks, Mama Lamb.
And now it is time for me to be silent of the lambs.
I'll be silent no more.
No, it's Hannibal. Hannibal's calling her.
Oh, okay.
Because even though he is in some South American country, he knows that it's Clarice's graduation day.
Yeah. And like the exact time, like he worked out
because he even says like congratulations, Clarice, or something like, doesn't he? Like,
Clarice.
Maybe the FBI graduations are on like a set date, and like Hannibal just Googled it.
Yeah. No Google then. He not even asked Jeeves. He just
asked Jeeves.
What a dark time.
Ask Jeeves. So he's run away to South America.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's run away more. He's actually following somebody. So,
oh shit.
Yes. And
he also says like, don't try to trace it. It won't be a long phone call. And I'm like, can you even trace rotary phone calls? Like,
yeah. And like, also he has been like sitting there for how long for her to come to the phone. So they're probably
right.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like, come on, Clarice. Time's a wasting.
I do assume how much money is that costing him?
Yeah, I know.
That is long distance.
So who's he following?
Shilton,
the asylum owner.
Yes.
Oh,
so he says he has to go.
Yeah. You say the line, Orla. You know the line.
It's like, oh, I must go now. I'm having a friend for dinner. And then you see Chilton coming off a plane because he's like, Hannibal's calling him from like a little bar that's basically on the runway where the plane is. And they only seem to be about 20 yards away from each other.
Yeah, he like follows him, and they're really not far behind. But he's got like a wig on. He's got like long hair and sunglasses and a white suit.
Yeah,
he's living it up in South America. Wardrobe. Yeah, and he follows Chilton. We don't know why Chilton's there, or is he there to like because he's afraid that Hannibal will come after him, so he's gone there to get away from Hannibal? I don't even know.
He seemed to be like meeting people. You know, like he was there on a. I don't know. It was really strange. And he just gets off the plane. Like there's no airport. It's just like, there's no like immigration to go through.
That's how it used to be. You know?
That's true. Oh man.
And honestly,
90s air travel.
He's waiting for Clarice to get on that phone. It's perfect timing. He even knew how long it might take her to get to the phone because he hangs up and immediately is like 20 yards behind him and follows him. And that's the end.
What a genius.
It actually, like the credits roll, the whole credits roll over the same shot. It's just kind of slowly rising as you see him walk and follow off in the distance in the crowd. And then they all disappear in the crowd, but it's just a one shot and all the credits roll up.
Okay. So I guess he just wants to kill the guy that had him locked up then.
Well, yeah, because he's a dick. He's terrible.
Yeah,
I was like, I wrote down I was like, fucking eat that motherfucker.
Eat that motherfucker. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had it coming.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wish he wasn't in South America, though. It would have been cooler if he was like at Clarice's grad there.
Oh, apparently, I read this earlier. There is a deleted scene or like an alternative ending where he is on the phone to her and says, "I like your dress," or he says something about her outfit as if he's seen her earlier in the day or something. So then that he's actually there, and then he goes off and kills Chilton there or something. I don't know.
It would have been funnier if he was like, "I like your dress," but he was still in South America. So he had another phone call with his spy, like, "What is she wearing? Oh, that's nice. I like your dress.
What is she wearing?"
And he wouldn't have said it unless he actually liked her outfit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's sincere, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's the movie. That is what happens in Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. I mean, I guess I half predicted a lot of it.
I think you did very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I think you're the clairvoyant in this one.
But why again the lotion?
To soften the skin, I guess.
Just makes it easier for ripping.
To keep it as moist and like from drying out and all that kind of stuff, and he can cut it.
Oh, so that he can keep it in one piece.
You don't want a dry skin suit, I guess.
It's the worst.
How does he maintain his skin suit? What do you think his skin suit regimen is?
I was thinking that earlier. When you see the whole the full suit, like what's he doing?
Yeah.
You know?
He's just spraying it with some water or whatever.
That's disgusting.
It's gross.
I mean, it's probably a pretty damp basement as well. So maybe it's like the perfect climate for
Ew, skin suit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not a gore person, but I mean,
it's not really gory though. The movie's not really gory.
There's that one scene when he goes in his rampage when he's in his bird cage.
Yeah.
It's obviously
that's the one.
But most of it is like gore that's talked about rather than
seen,
actually shown. So she'd appreciate it.
Do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's better. I'm not a big gore for gore's sake.
Yeah,
it's more fun when it's just like Hannibal talking about things than it is about watching Hannibal kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think of the movie?
Oh, I like it. I love creepy stuff like that.
Yay!
I like it. I like that it's like that he knows everything that's going on and like you're just kind of waiting to figure it out.
Yeah.
I do feel like other than like any of the action stuff, like the minimal references I had off Family Guy like really did it.
Yeah. It's like the key scenes.
Yeah, real nailed it.
Really is.
The dancing is really important.
The dancing isn't that, they do that in Family Guy too.
And like, how many fava beans do you give Orla's description?
Oh, gross. I give you all the fava beans in those. I said this to Orla earlier. On Pinterest, I've been scrolling a lot, and lately there'll be ad suggestions about how to cook with fava beans, and they'll have and I was like, are fava beans really making a comeback after so many years? Like the heat's died down from this movie that we can now enjoy fava beans for dinner. I give you that whole Pinterest video, that's for sure. It's really it's just such a weird niche freaking food. Am I right? Like of all the things.
I feel bad for them though that they got tired with this reputation of, and it's all Hannibal's fault really. Like,
yeah. Do they taste good? I don't know.
What did fava beans ever do?
They're just beans. They taste like beans. You put them in a bean medley, like a chili.
I'm very dedicated to this drink now.
Oh man!
You could have just drank like Chianti by itself.
You
didn't have to mix the vermouth.
You're continuing
to
mix
drinks,
it,
and I have because this is such a small cup that it's not even it's probably like half an actual drink.
It's a spoonful.
I have to keep pouring in tiny little amounts.
Lord,
it does just taste like mulled wine to me, so
that's not bad.
That's the highest compliment.
Yeah,
I think so.
Probably for what it was. Ugh, that bean foam. And no bean foam.
No.
All the Pinterest video, no bean foam.
I don't want to think about the foam.
It was disgusting.
It was bad. It was bad.
I hope you got a picture of that because it was
I
so
did. I
freaking
did get a picture.
disgusting. I hated it. I never want to see that again. Ever. Never ever foam any of our beverages from here on out.
No.
I don't want that.
Not even the ones that normally come with foam.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have any.
Well, Orla, it's been wonderful having you on here.
Thank you. I had so much fun. I had so much fun watching it, and I had so much fun talking about it.
Where can people listen to your voice more?
They can find our podcast, The Recommendation Game, on SoundCloud, The Recommendation Game, on Facebook, The Recommendation Game, on Twitter at The Rec Game. You can also find us. There is a Dublin Digital Radio is a online radio station that we get broadcast on every Monday. We have a slot there.
Cool.
So if you look up Dublin Digital Radio, you can listen to us live, or they have a Mixcloud as well where you can listen to our past episodes. But our SoundCloud is kind of the best spot because we're on like episode 140 now.
Yeah,
you're up there.
Yeah. So although they've become more elaborate now that I've had all this time, so now they have like clips and like all this mad shit thrown in there. So
nice.
We will never get sponsorship. There is so much illegal stuff that I download and put into our podcast. But
it's for the audience.
We did Portrait of a Lady on Fire was the most recent episode we did. So that was very fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say your podcast, I feel like, is the more intellectual discussion of more movies that a lot of people might not have heard of, whereas our podcast is like the lower class version of that.
It's kind of
with
fun
big
though,
movies.
because it's the opposite.
Big
because
movies that you should have seen.
I feel like your job is easier though, because like for me, like having, especially as like Ricardo, my friend who I do it with, he has seen maybe 10 times the movies I have. So, having to find movies that he has not seen is so difficult.
True.
So that's how we end up in these weird places of like these strange films that you kind of forget that you've ever seen, and then you find them again and you're like, oh yeah. So some of them are, it's fun.
That's
though.
Fun.
Yeah.
That is fun.
Podcasting is fun.
Get into the foreign films, Probably hasn't seen it.
Well, folks, if you want to follow Haven't Seen a Podcast on social media, you can follow us at Haven't Seen a Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, or at haven't_seen_it on Twitter, or you can go to our website, www.haven'tseenapodcast.com. There you will find all our episodes, all pictures of our drinks and our guests, as well as the entire list of movies Alenka hasn't seen.
It's so
It's a lot.
long.
It's
it
pretty
grows
big.
every week. It does.
That's like you're gonna have like 300 episodes more than I ever will. It's just keep
Just
going
keeps
forever.
going.
it's funny actually too, because people will be like, oh man, like you we gotta watch this movie together or whatever or something, or they want to tell me about a movie or something because they're like, oh, this reminds me of this or whatever, and I was like, you can't. You actually can't.
That's off limits now.
You can't tell me any details. They're like, why? And I was like, I need to go in blind. You cannot tell me what happens.
I need content for the podcast.
Yeah, please do not ruin me. This is all I have now.
You gotta have rules though, I think.
Yeah. People are like, well, can I spoil the movie for you? And I was like, no, I can't. It's my
We
thing.
need genuine reactions on this podcast.
I know. Can you imagine? I'm just like, oh, wow. So he got away? Wow. It's wacky.
It wasn't his face. Oh my god.
Weird.
Oh, and if any of you listening want to leave us a review, you could do that on iTunes. You can do that on Facebook. You could do that right on the episode itself on our website. You could just comment on it, just give us a little shout. Just let me know that your ear holes are plugged into
Tell us who had the best Buffalo Bill impersonation. I need validation at all times.
I still think you won.
Family Guy, baby.
All right, well, why don't you take us out, Buffalo Bill?
Oh shit. We're done the podcast now. Bye.